The more you are hungry, the more you are asking for food, and it keeps escalating, and the more you are frustrated, and the more you are emotional, and the more you make, unfortunately, wrong decisions. The definition of affair, an inappropriate physical relationship that is often accompanied by feeling of deep love. This is the technical explanation of affair, but the spiritual explanation of affair. Do you know what is adultery? The word adultery is adding an altar. Adding an altar. So I go upstairs to the church, I open the veil, and I bring my own another altar beside the altar. So sometimes I'm worshiping God, and sometimes I'm worshiping anything else. So adultery means adding an altar that I am putting side by side, ranking number 1 or number 2 with me worshiping him or her or this need. So it is not just the physical relationship that is accompanied by feeling of deep love, but in many times, if the wife is feeling that there is an emotional affair or there is an inappropriate affair, communication, this leads to a big issue in the family. Affairs usually start by being friends. We are just friends. We are just talking. She's very funny. He's listening. Every time I need something, she's there for me. We used to study together for a long time. We used to date maybe just for a short time, but all the excuses, all the one of the red alarming things is the phones. They're all the time over the phone. Why you are taking my phone? Why you are checking my phone? Give me the password. No, I will not give you the password. Why you are not giving the password? We go in this dilemma. This is a personal recommendation. The password of my wife is the password of mine, is the password of my kids' devices. They're all the same. If I had something to hide, then this is the question mark. Why I'm hiding? Trust is a big topic. It needs to be addressed separately, but it is an important thing not to go freaking controlling. You know what? I need to know every single. Okay, now there was a funny ad. A guy was supposed to be working, but he was in the mall, and the boss number is calling. And we see the guy in the mall running to a store of mattress store, going in the mattress, covering himself, and opening the FaceTime while he is in bed and speaking to his boss. The more we are transparent, the more we are communicating, the more we are sharing the wares about this is what I'm doing in the day, this is what's happening, it is very comforting. It decreases the anxiety, it decreases the stress, and makes the life of everyone easier. Look, God is going, when we are submitting to each other in the fear of God, then I will not have an emotional affair or even thinking of someone outside of wedlock, because this is not honoring God from the get-go, from the beginning. It's not about my spouse. The impact of the spouse is important, but I'm not honoring God by doing this. And the first time you will get away with it. Second time you will get away with it. Third time you will get away with it. And Abuna can tell you zillions of stories. And you think that you are the smartest, that no one is going to know what you are doing, and you are just smart, and you can do it. And when every time we pray the Thanksgiving, we are telling God, we thank you because you have covered us. You covered us. And when God is saying, this is a decision, that God is saying, no, I'm not covering you anymore. And the nightmare is happening. I don't know, you are following what's happening to on the news. It's I stopped even the instant notification from the whatever Fox News or CNN. So and so is resigning sexual harassment. So and so is resigning. So and so is resigning. The country is resigning. What's going on? Yeah, it is literally this is what's happening, because people are not honoring God anymore. It is not about the spouse. I'm faithful to God first, to the covenant that we have established inside of the church in front of the altar. I should not be messing around or everything we do will be exposed. I'm just telling you this in advance. Story. A lady, before the smartphones, flip phones, you assign people to the numbers. So press number 2, call home, press number 3, call whatever. So this is a true story. A guy was cheating on his wife, and while he was cheating, his phone called his wife by mistake. Of course, she was on the speed dial, and she didn't pick up the phone, and it saved 4 minutes of a proof of him cheating on her. When God is removing his cover, we are done. We are done, including myself. Don't push the limits. Don't push the limits and say, no, it's no big deal, no big deal, no big deal. The story is okay. This is a funny one. Iranian couple, they were on Emirates Airline, I think, or Qatar Airline, very recent, and they had an emergency landing. And they were asked them why the emergency landing, because the wife started hitting the husband severely to the extent that there was a risk on his life. So when they asked him why she was hitting him, he was sleeping, okay? He had his phone, okay? So when he was sleeping and he had his phone, because his phone is linked to the touch, the fingerprint password. So she took his finger very, very slowly. She put it on the phone, opened all his history of text messages, and she started hitting him right away when he was sleeping. Look, whom you would trust more? A guy who is telling his fiancée, you know what, no kiss before marriage, whom she will trust more? A guy who's telling his fiancée, no kiss before marriage, or he is pushing hard all the way, and pause after 5 years, he's going for a 6 month trip, business assignment overseas. Whom she would trust more? The one who is honoring her and respecting her and living a pure life before marriage, or who was all the way pushing, whom she would trust more? It's obvious, the answer. So it starts with just friends or just talking, then we get along, then the emotional bank account increased, then I'm frustrated, دمي محروق, I didn't have my needs met, whether from both sides, and you find things is going out of control. Affairs are not necessarily started based on physical attraction. In maybe 90% of the cases, is not physical attraction. It is the attraction often is emotional, because the emotional need is not met, or disrespected, or ignored, or ridiculed, or made fun of. It doesn't matter what the other person looks like, as they fulfill the person's needs, then, and you will find that the weirdest affairs happening, because someone very, very smart, very successful, very cheating on his wife with a complete opposite of his wife. But the whole point is the need that was met, unfortunately. In the time of affair, is the mind and the emotions is stable? No. The emotions is high. So it feels very, very good. It's like heaven on earth. And usually the man and the woman seem to bring the best out of each other. I can't tell you how good I feel when I'm sitting with her or with him. There is a tendency to ignore each other's fault, and this happens also if the lustful desires is taking over in the time of engagement, that the mind is checked out, and as the story of the couple that I told you about, married for 15 years. When your basic needs go unmet, there is tendency to start thinking this is not right, it is not fair. If you listen to this, this is the voice of the devil speaking out loud in your mind. This is not right, this is not fair. What is the fair? It's outside. If it is not right and if it is not fair, then what about carrying your cross? What about bringing it up? What about talking about it? What about praying about it? What about asking, am I meeting the needs of my spouse to be of my spouse or not? Before I am thinking of this. What fuels, I know that Dr. Nabil, I think Dr. Yusri is going to speak about this topic, but it's really scary. It's very, very common. It blows the mind. It is in 96% of the confessions, Egypt, Dubai, here, everywhere. All the Abunas are saying that this is 96% of the confessions. Is what? This is a wrong slide. This is pornography. Pornography. Now, this is a disaster. This is a nightmare. This is an elephant in the pew. This is taking over marriages, taking over relationships, taking over families, big time. I know Abuna is assigning me a topic about his needs and her needs, but speaking about the needs and the sexual fulfillment for men and the challenges that is there is very, very overwhelming and alarming to the extent that we have an obligation as a church to speak about it. It's no joke. It's heartbreaking. It's very, very sad. Everywhere. I was in Egypt. One of the Abunas asked me to do like an open discussion for people who are like addiction counselors. And all the addiction counselors are asking to speak about treatment for porn addiction, because porn is an addiction. And it was 2-day notice, just announcement 2 days before. Time was very tight, and there was over 40 Abunas coming, even from far places, to listen to a talk about this topic. And I'm just telling you how massive is this tsunami that is taking over. And I can't. One of the Abunas, old in age, it seems he's far and is living in a very low SES, and he is telling me, Abuna, at least in the US they are going to work. People are going to work. He's telling me this. In our villages, they don't work. They are the financial mess, and they are doing this all day long. And where this is where this is being seen in child pornography and sexual harassment to kids, and this is where it is being played. And harassment in work, all this chaos that is happening all over the place. One of the key things that is provoking everything is pornography. 25% of internet searches about pornography, 35% of downloads about pornography. In Time magazine in April 2016, you can Google this. April 2016, the Time magazine said no porn. This is again is the mainstream. The mainstream of all the media. This is cool. This is fun. It's no big deal. This is what everyone is speaking about. But the Time magazine is saying no porn because 6 out of 10 males below age of 25, again, if you have 10 young men below age of 25 watching porn regularly, 6 out of 10 have erectile dysfunction. They cannot perform well in their sexual relationship with their spouses. You know why? This is a fact. 60% are having ED. ED means erectile dysfunction. Though they are not having any problem in front of the screen.
They are shocked
Their mind
from the
is
real.
programmed to get pleasure this way.
Thank you. The mind is rewired. The mind is rewired. So as the sexual excitation will happen through screen. And here, where everyone is falling, or many of the youth are falling in that trap, because in real life they have a major problem in front of the screen. They are okay, and this what started a huge secular. This is secular. I'm speaking not about from Christian perspective. This is a secular perspective. Huge movement. I think started in Australia called Reboot Generation, or Reboot Generation, where they are calling to stop and live away from pornography. طبعا they are saying it's okay, do it outside, but don't watch porn. But the whole point is the impact on the very, very high price that youth has been paying, not knowing, you know what, it's no big deal, this is very serious. And every time I speak about this issue, I find someone stopping me and telling me, you know what, there is a guy proposing to me and he confessed that he is going through this, and this is a challenge. Few questions. When he started watching porn, if it is 12 years old, when he was 12 years old, it's completely different than when he was 20 years old. Early exposure of porn changed the wiring of the brain. You know, have you seen wet concrete? Well, concrete, when it is wet, you step on the concrete, your footstep is marking for the life of the concrete. But if you step on the concrete when the concrete is hard, there's no big, it affects, but it is not like when the concrete is wet. The brain in the early age is wet, and stepping on the brain with huge amount of influx of pleasure hormones or dopamine releasing stuff, whether porn, whether drugs, whether smoking weed, whether pot, all of this is releasing extensive amount of dopamine in the brain, changing the footprint or changing the wet or the brain structure that leads to this. So how early, how frequent, how deep this is involved? Is it, there is a difference between someone who watch porn once every 3 months and someone watching porn for 10 hours every day. A huge difference, huge difference. So this is a big issue. I beg you, be honest with God, be honest with your spouses to be. This should be completely off. I remember a very weird question. One of my friends from school is telling me, you are making it a big deal, you are married anyway, we should watch anything and we should, this is not a big deal. Why you are complaining? You Copts are mizayitin. He told me this, as if you are dropping oil. I mean, it's too much. And whom you are bringing in the physical, intimate relationship between the husband and the wife, when they are together, whom you are bringing? You are bringing the world and the devil and the filthiness of the world, or you are having God in this relationship that He has blessed and has purified and has sanctified. Whom we are bringing? Are we bringing the world? عشان كده قال يكن المضجع غير دنس. Let the bed is without defilement. So how the bed will be defiled? By bringing the filthiness of the world inside of this. So the effect on the family, 2/3 of divorces nationwide. 2/3. So if we have 1 million divorce, 600,000 divorces is because of internet pornography or inappropriate material on internet. 300% increase in the rate of infidelity because of online inappropriate practices. 300%. Now there is apps that you can just let the app determine where your location, and the app will do everything else. And here, when we are, it's a big challenge. It is better for us. Remember this image of the two, of the husband and the wife in front of the altar, bowing down, leaning towards each other and bowing down in front of God. This is simply an icon of how our life should be. I am coming closer to my wife because I am focusing on her needs. She is coming closer to me because she's focusing on my needs. We are both kneeling down, we are both humbling down in front of God. We are bowing down our heads because we are submitting to God or submitting to each other in the fear of God. Women are not off the hook. 30% of women may make up 1 in 3 visitors to adult entertainment websites. And here, when things is going out of control, unfortunately. So be aware. So Dr. Nabil Solomon mentioned something about comparison. I remember a wife came and told me, I can't compete with a billion young-looking girls online, doing whatever it takes to make more money. I can't compete with this. And because of this, I'm out from this relationship. I'm out from this marriage. Unless he admits he has a problem, he needs intervention. Unless we take it serious, I can't. So the effect on a spiritual level, emotional level, intellectual level, social level, and physical level, the effect is humongous. We don't have time for this. I think I have maybe 2 or 3 minutes. The concept of love bank, the more the emotional needs is fulfilled, the more the bank is filled. And the emotional bank account, so every time if my spouse is admiration and I am telling him, thank you for all what you have been doing for us and for the kids and for my family, I highly appreciate it. You are depositing a lot. And she is depositing a lot, and you are depositing, both of you, so that the emotional bank account is having maybe 100 grand. If you withdraw 1,000 from 100 grand, you still have 99. But if you withdraw 1,000 from $900, you are minus 100. And minus 100, I don't know if you have seen this before or not. I've seen it because I was an identity theft victim. One day I opened the bank. The bank is calling, text me, what's going on? So I opened the online banking. It's all red. The whole bank, the whole page is red. I never saw it, and the account is minus $5,000. This is a nightmare. This is a side talk. But if you are going through any identity theft, I went through it twice. So yeah, because they sell it. They sell your information. So may God protect you all. But the whole point is, when the account is by negative, then they are calling Abuna by midnight, and she has been adding more salt on the soup. And I told her, I don't want soup, and the house is on fire. Really are you fighting about extra salt on the soup? This is really the cause of the fight? Or I always told him to push the toothpaste tube this way, and he is always pushing it that way. And this is really the issue? It is just the tip of an iceberg, where there has been a huge amount of emotional needs that was not met, or neglected, or dismissed, or ridiculed, or made fun of. So I will end with there, because I think this is the most important take-home message. Let each of you look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others. Can we say it out loud? Let each of you not only of his own interest, but also for the interest of others. And if we are mindful of No, there is a very nice quote. I want to share it with you in the end. Yeah, this one. The husband and wife who commit themselves to meet each other's needs. Look, the husband and the wife who commits themselves to meet each other's needs will lay a foundation for lifelong happiness, a marriage that is deeper and more satisfying than they ever dreamed possible. Again, the husband and the wife who commit themselves to meet each other's needs. And this is the beauty of the commandment of God, that God, when God is saying or giving us a commandment, it is for our benefit, it is for our satisfaction, it is for our freedom from within to do what the Lord is saying, because He knows it inside out. But sometimes we are rebelling, we say, you know what, I know what's better for me, and we ignore the commandment of God, or say, the Bible doesn't understand, has nothing to do with this. While lay a foundation for lifelong happiness, a marriage that is deeper and more satisfying than they ever dreamed possible. I will end with a quiz. You have 5 cities, okay? Are you there? You have 5 cities. You are planning to get married. You are choosing which city you are going to move in. So city number 1, the rate of crime is 1 in 3. Every 3 people walking, 1 will be attacked or something happened to him or her. City number 2 is 2 in 1. I'm sorry, 1 in 2. So 2 people, so the rate of crime is 50%. So the first one, 33%, second one is 50%. Third city, the rate of crime is 2 in 3. So every 3 people, 2 of them will be exposed to crime, 66%. And the rate of crime in the last 2 cities, in 1 in 100 and 1 in 1100, the 1 in 1100, this is the safest city nationwide. So which city you will invest in buying a home or a condo or whatever, or rent even? The safest. It's no-brainer. But this is not the crime level. This is the rate of divorce. The rate of divorce of the first city is nationwide, 1 in 3. Every 3 families, 1 family is divorcing. The rate of divorce in blessed California is city number 2, 50%. The heartbreaking news is Southern California, SoCal, rate of divorce is 66%. This is the same exact rate of divorce in the Muslim community. After fulfilling the 4, well, you get married to the first and the second and the third and the fourth. But after the 4th, you need to start kicking them out because the quota is 4. But what about the rate of divorce in city number 4 and city number 5? 1 in 100 and 1 in 1100. Those cities they're not cities, they are the rate of divorce of families praying together. Just praying together. 1 in 100. But what about 1 in 1100? They pray together for sure, but they do something else. It was not a Coptic data, but you are very close. He said taking communion. That they go to church weekly as a family. Someone will be saying, okay, يعني أنت بقى رحت سألت الناس you ask the people who the no, this is a research based information on 20,000 cases of divorce. So when they were analyzing the cases, they were in the assessment of the cases, they were asking questions about church and prayer. And when they retroactively analyzed it, this was the finding. So to wrap up, family pray together, stay together. Family on a daily basis, we pray on a regular basis, on a weekly basis.